Hello, unforgettable vocalists. My name is O'Neill Gerald Donald, and you are listening to the Reclaim Your Voice podcast, where we help you to take your singing from unsure to unforgettable. This is the place where we help you to stop losing your voice, break bad singing habits, and find your unique sound. And I'm just so excited. This is episode 2. It's funny because I just recently put out this podcast, and I did it so quickly. I remember I had this idea, and the idea came, and it's like the idea manifested like so quickly. And I realized that the reason for that is because this message needs to get out there. And in a world where a lot of singers are competing against other singers, and a lot of people are just competing to even have their own voice, I realized that there's a lot of parts of the conversation that are being lost. There are a lot of nuances to the conversation that are not being understood. And I decided that my YouTube channel wasn't a space where I could really expand this conversation over a long period of time. So I created this podcast. And so we're getting into the conversation, deepening our understanding of what it means to reclaim our voices. And I'm so glad that I'm helping you to do that. So today we're going to be talking about when your voice doesn't belong to you. This is going to be a little bit of a series. I think I'm going to stretch this out over a few episodes. And it's funny because when you hear, your voice doesn't belong to you, and we're going to be talking about the signs that your voice doesn't belong to you today. But when you hear about your voice not belonging to you, it makes no sense because, for me, you're hearing me talk right now. I am talking using my own vocal folds. Like, there's no one else that has my unique voice. If I called out to my wife and asked her for a sandwich, I would probably make it myself. But if I were to ask her for something, she would instantly recognize my voice because my voice is unique. However, there are ways that we can use our voice that actually push off that ownership from being our own, or from being our ownership to being the ownership of other people, other situations, and even other vocal habits. And so I wanted to help you to get on the path of owning your voice again, of literally reclaiming your voice. So, and I see this as more of a foundational topic to help us to really set ourselves up to reclaim your voice. But we can't reclaim your voice if you don't even know that your voice isn't yours. So we're going to get into that just about now. So I have 3 signs that your voice doesn't belong to you, and we're going to get into them just right about now, starting with number 1. The first sign that your voice does not belong to you is that you lose it every week. And even when I say that, I kind of think of my own past journey, and I'm just like, oh man, this was my reality. And I am the poster child, thankfully my past is the poster child for exactly this. I remember because I worship lead at church weekly, at least I did before COVID. But when I was leading worship on a weekly basis every Sunday, I would walk off the stage after a 30-minute set, giving my all, and already realizing that my voice was going, and I may have been able to talk. And actually, you know what? Let's even go there. There are times that I would try to talk, and I would not be able to talk the next day, and even sometimes right after the set. I would probably be belting for basically the entire set, not really gauging anything that's happening, not really aware of my technique. And just overusing my voice and finding myself in a position where I was losing it every week. And it wasn't until I started going to school for music and started taking voice lessons and started singing in different ensembles, both in gospel choir, but also in classical choir or concert choir, just really discovering the full use of my voice, that I realized why I was losing it every week. And in figuring out why, I was able, and the thing is, my why won't necessarily be your why. Like, I realized that for me, I was using my voice a whole lot throughout the week. I was at choir practice, I was at church, I was at another choir practice, and then another church service, and then really just overusing my voice. And I realized that for me, overuse was the problem, but there are so many other issues, especially technique related issues, that can limit us in not just the use of our voice in a particular performance, but that limit us in the longevity of using our voice. And a lot of us, especially those of us that have never had like classical training. And for me, I'm not like classically trained, but I came up more in jazz. But for those of us that have never been trained vocally, we've never really been taught to use our voice in in an efficient way, but also in a way that is, I guess, beneficial to the longevity of our voice, even the longevity of our voice over the course of a week rather than just one day. A lot of us just, sing all that we can rather than singing all that we want. And a part of that even comes with the singing situations that we put ourselves in, whether it be not just choirs and overuse, but the songs that we're singing, the keys that we're singing the songs in. There's so many different things that can work against us, and not to mention our own technique, like our own lack of supporting our sound, the amount of effort that we use. There are so many different things that go into why our voice gets overused and why we lose it, right? But the safe thing to say is that the norm, losing your voice every single week, if that is happening to you, that is not normal. It's not normal for the voice, and it's not healthy for the voice, for it to be used at its optimal level and at its full potential. And it's also not your life sentence. I know that a lot of people that I've spoken to can feel a sense of doom when they fear whether it's whether it's voice damage, whether it's nodules, or a lot of the big bad wolves of singing. And for me, as a vocal coach, in fact, it's really funny how many people have come to me and they've said, like, I don't want to damage my voice. Oh, is my voice damaged? Or they'll tell me that their voice is damaged, and then I'll do a few warm-ups with them, I'll do a few exercises with them, and I'll be like, it's not that your voice is damaged, you just don't know how to use it. And I think that that is a word of hope for a lot of you that are listening to this podcast and have wanted to actually sing for the rest of your life. A lot of people, when they lose their voice every week, and especially when they get to their voice, I know for me, when I was getting my voice to the point where I couldn't speak, it feels like you've lost your power. It feels like you are completely incapacitated. Like, we talk in order to live. For me, speaking now is and using my voice is literally a part of my job. And for most people, they have to talk in order to communicate with their higher ups or et cetera, so forth. So if you are losing your voice, there's a sense of power that has been robbed from you, that's been stolen from you, that you want to be able to not just get back, but something that you want to be able to maintain. And when you lose your voice, it can feel like the entire world is just caving in on you. And it's funny because a lot of vocal coaches capitalize on that, and capitalize on that sense of doom and on that sense of fear. But I'm here to simply tell you that if you're losing your voice every week, that it is not the end, and that there is a way out. But that way out is going to be through a way that you've never been before. And most importantly, as it pertains to this conversation of your voice not belonging to you, you need to know that your voice doesn't belong to you. Your voice actually belongs to the circumstances that are actually robbing you of your voice. Whether it be the frequency that you're using your voice, the people that are asking you to come out and sing, the people that you are singing with, and the singing situations that you have to put yourself in order to blend with the people that you're singing with. Not like there's even your voice could belong to the lack of knowledge or to the ignorance that is keeping you from using your voice in the way, and using your body in a way that benefits your voice, right? Like when I think of your voice not belonging to you, it's not so much that you've taken your vocal cords and given them to somebody else physically, but when we are not able to use our voice, like in this point, losing our voice every week, what we're doing is we're literally saying, here you go, you can have the functionality of my voice, and I don't care about it. And that isn't that is not conducive to your message and to your dream, the message that you want to share, the dream that you have to be a singer that impacts lives. The more that you're losing your voice, the more it doesn't belong to you. And so that's the first point or the first sign rather, that your voice doesn't belong to you, that you lose it every week because you literally have given it to someone else. Right. The second point or the second sign that your voice doesn't belong to you is that you never feel confident when you use your voice until someone praises you. Whew! Oh my goodness, I forgot about these. These hit me when I first did them, and they're hitting me now. I'll say that again. The second sign that your voice doesn't belong to you is that you never feel confident when you use your voice until someone praises you. Now, there are so many people at so many different skill levels, and I should turn this cup around. Anyway, but there are so many there's so many people of different skill levels that actually can relate to this. You would think that, if a person is able to sing well, that they would feel confident in using their voice, and they would feel like they are on top of the world and that they can do anything. But little did you know, there are so many people that are able to sing people under the table and are still not confident in their voice. And the only reason why it seems like they're confident is because they're getting praise for their high level of skill. Right? And even especially in this Instagram generation where there's a lot of singers that are on TikTok, there's a lot of singers that are on Instagram, there's a lot of singers that put their stuff out on YouTube, etc. and so forth. What we are trained to do is register a like as a source of affirmation. And we have never, we haven't been trained rather to build affirmation from within and allow that to define whether our voice is doing well or not, or define whether or not we are confident in our voice. There are a lot of people that will search their comments, refresh, and I'm guilty of this too, where you refresh your Instagram, you just scroll down to see if you've gotten a like. And especially for someone who is singing and all they do is post singing videos, they're gonna scroll down and see, did someone like my post? Did someone like my post? And if someone didn't like your singing post, you take that as a level of rejection. And, there's a level of a spiral that happens where you descend deeper and deeper into hopelessness when it comes to your voice. And for a singer, that is, what's the word? Like I said, with losing your voice, it's another way that incapacitates you, right? There are so many people that are depressed that have, like, I remember just someone that came to my mind, someone that is actually an amazing singer, but their own lack of perception of their voice and of their abilities keeps them from being able to perform and keeps them from being able to actually use the voice, even in the heights of skill, right? That is, like, that it's really sad when I think about it, because it's just like there are so many people that would love to have the technical proficiency to be able to sing, I don't know, like a Beyonce song or an Usher song, right? And the funny thing is that the people that do often don't feel confident until someone praises them. So when that person gets the like, or when that person gets the what's the word? just gets that affirmation. Or even if it's a concert, they sing and then they get off stage and then they have someone that comes up to them and is just like, oh my gosh, your voice is absolutely amazing. They register like that type of singer, that type of person that drinks in praise as if it's water. They take that in and they allow that to carry them until the next performance or carry them until the next day. We hear it all the time. Thank you so much for my fans. My fans love me so much. It's just so filling. And excuse me. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing to love your fans, but when your fan, in fact, we can go through so many stories of people that have, I guess, gone into depression because they were looking at their fans' response, or they were looking for that level of affirmation and they didn't get it. The reason why this is a sign that your voice doesn't belong to you is because your voice should be ready and should be able to be used at any given time. At any given time, at the drop of the nail, whenever someone is in need or whenever you need to use it. And if the lack of praise is incapacitating you or taking you out, it means that you're not able to actually show up for the audience that you want to impact at any given time. Now, you might be ready because someone praised you, but when somebody doesn't praise you, when someone isn't telling you that you're doing a good job, what is your inner talk, your inner self-talk telling you? What is your own self-image telling you about your singing and about your voice, right? And whatever that is, whatever that message is that is actually being sent from within. And I'm not talking about, when you are, trying to talk yourself there, because we do it all the time. People do affirmations, etc., so forth. I am worthy. I am this. I am that. But when you shut your mouth and it's just your mind that's going, what is your mind saying, right? That's actually the question that I'm actually asking. And if the answer is that it defaults to lack of self-esteem and lack of confidence in singing, then your voice actually belongs to that lack of self-image that drags you down every single time. Because best believe there will be times where people will praise you, but there will also be times where people not only don't praise you, but people actually don't like your voice, or people just don't like you, period. And if you thought the lack of praise can be draining, think about the situation that you would have when someone rejects you or when someone says something negative about your voice. That's even more draining. And for a lot of people, it's life or death, right? So that would mean that your voice doesn't belong to you. Your voice belongs to whomever has an opinion about your voice. It belongs to their opinions. It doesn't belong to you. You don't sing for you. You sing for the opinions of other people, right? So that was the second one. Our first one was that our first sign that your voice doesn't belong to you is that you lose it every week. The second sign is that you never feel confident when you use your voice until someone praises you. The third and final sign that your voice doesn't belong to you is that you don't know how to connect what you want to do in your head with your voice's current abilities. Woo! Oh man, this is deep. This is really deep. I'll say it one more time. The third sign and the final sign that your voice doesn't belong to you is that you don't know how to connect what you want to do in your head with your voice's current abilities. Now, this can be for so many different reasons. So many different reasons. And as a vocal coach, but also as a musician and someone who studied music theory, there are so many gaps in people's music theory that prevent them from being able to, whether it's improvise or whether it's even just sing along with a song that they want to sing that they want to sing with. It's gaps in our knowledge that keep us from being able to do what we want to do with our voices. But in terms of performance, that's more of on a broader scale. But if there are ideas that are happening in your head that you're hearing and you're not able to mimic them with your voice, if there's a run that you're hearing and all that happens is that you stumble when you try to do it. Even on a more simple basis, if there are notes that have registered from a song that you are singing, that you want to sing, and you hear them in your head, but on the way, okay, let me try this again. On the way, okay, let's try to break this down for me. So the idea is in your brain and it gets sent to your vocal cords, and on its way to your vocal cords, with that message being sent to your vocal cords, somewhere along the way the message gets convoluted and you freeze up vocally, right? This is definitely a sign that your voice doesn't belong to you. Why? Because your voice is an instrument of the message that would impact your audience. And if you're not able to use your voice at its optimal, in its optimal form and at its highest potential, then you're not going to be able to take the ideas that you hear and actually put them into good use. And actually, the lack of knowledge that's there also impacts your ability to respond vocally. A lot of people don't realize that singing is not just about singing what's on the page or singing what you hear on a record or on a song, but being able to conform to different environments that you may be in vocally so that you can actually express yourself at any given moment. It's not about it. Rehearsal is amazing and practice is absolutely necessary, and that's actually how we actually reclaim our voice in a lot of ways. But it can't stop there, right? Rehearsal and practice prepares you for situations that you know are going to happen, but for the situations that you don't know are going to happen, especially on a stage, if there is a moment where you want to express something more, whether it's an ad lib or whether it's a run, and you can't, and all you can do is what's on the page or what's on the record, then your voice belongs to whoever wrote that song, not you. Right? It's about being able to put your own personal spin and your own personal message on your voice. And the reason why is because when you put your own personal message on a song or on an idea, it allows the humanity that is in your voice to be felt, experienced in real time. When one human experiences the vulnerability of another human, there is a connection that is made that's completely and utterly irreplaceable. And it's a connection that actually can last for a really long time and completely change someone's life. But it won't happen unless you reclaim your voice, unless you allow your voice to not belong to your bad vocal habits, not for your voice to belong to the people that would want to praise you or hurt you or harm you. And you don't want your voice to belong to your own ignorance. You want your voice to belong to you. And the only way that you can actually reclaim your voice is if you have someone that is able to fight for you and fight with you, right? They're like, a lot of us try to fight this on our own, and we try to put ourselves in a position where we are, we're just where we're able to fend for ourselves and we're able to do this on our own, kind of be an individualist with it. But voices are best won in community, and voices are best won won back and they're best reclaimed when there is someone that is able to actually help you on the journey. And that's why I'm here, right? So what I've done is I've opened some space in my schedule for everyone that is hearing this podcast and wants to respond to it in terms of reclaiming their own voice. They know that their voice doesn't, you know that your voice doesn't belong to you. What am I talking about? It's you, right? You know that your voice doesn't belong to you, and you know that you want to actually fix that and solve that. What I've done is I've created some space in my calendar for you to be able to respond. So what I want you to do is go to reclaimyourvoice.ca/call and find yourself on a voice breakthrough call with me. And what we'll be able to do there is we'll be able to figure out what's not working with your voice and figure out what has kept your voice from actually being yours. And what we'll do is we'll see how we can actually fill in that gap for you, because it's 2022. It's not the time for you to be sitting on your gifts and your talents, and most importantly, sitting on the message that has been given to you to share with the world. There are so many people that are waiting to hear you, not just so that you can bless them with amazing sound, but because you have a message that if you infuse the songs that you sing with that message and you shot out into the world with that human experience, there's another human that is out there that can connect with them, and you can actually save their life, right? So this isn't about just singing for the sake of singing, about singing the next big hit or grabbing the next hit. This is about saving lives and you actually being able to be the one that reaches into someone's life and actually infuses or speaks a word of hope into that person. And you can do that all just by reclaiming your own voice. So I want you to get on a call with me at reclaimyourvoice.ca/call, and I want us to have this conversation. And definitely this conversation about your voice not belonging to you is going to continue after this week. Next week, we're going to talk about the strain of when your voice doesn't belong to you. But until then, what I want you to do is follow this podcast if you're listening to it on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or Amazon or wherever you're listening to this podcast. What I want you to do is subscribe. I also want you to subscribe to the YouTube channel for the Reclaim Your Voice podcast. We're out here reclaiming people's voices and reclaiming your voice. So I'm going to be here again next week, Thursday, with the strain of when your voice doesn't belong to you. But until then, I want you to sit tight. And I want you, and not just sit tight, I want you to get on a call with me. But until then, or until the next time that we hear, or that you hear me, I don't really hear you. But anyway, I'm gonna have to work on that. But until the next time, I'm gonna hear you. I'll be with you one more time, and we'll talk about the strain of your voice not belonging to you. So until then, this is the Reclaim Your Voice podcast. Signing off. I'm O'Neal Gerald Donald. All right, see you later.